To learn a lot of stuff about pickup and attraction and seduction and approaching women, they tend to learn a lot of material, a lot of techniques, a lot of information, and then they start second-guessing everything. Okay, you start to become aware that there's a lot of stuff out there, and you start second-guessing everything you're doing because you know, oh, some guy on some board said at one time that when a woman says this, I should say this. Well, number one, that conversation was out of context, so you weren't there at the time. You don't know what was really said and exactly which words and what the emotional state was and what the environment was. There are so many variables, you cannot take that literally. So what you got to be careful about is that you have to create a loose framework and not get too caught up in this planning and scheming and mapping out the entire interaction with a woman. Number one, because it is a fluid interaction and you cannot plan that anywhere past the first couple of interactions. As a matter of chaos theory, you can't predict weather any more than like 3 or 4 days out because it's totally variable in the future. There's no way you can know what it is because there's too many variables in the equation. The same thing is true about conversations. The same thing is true about approaches. You can't know enough to plan a conversation, but you can have contingencies, and there's a balance here to be had. You're not going to hear me arguing for the fact of, oh, you should not have any canned material. You should not have any rehearsed scripts, nothing prepared of your own. No, that's not true. You should have some of that because you need structure. You need things to call upon when your mind goes blank or if you're having a bad day or if something gets thrown at you, a curveball. But at the same time, everything you say must be you. I don't want you to memorize it word for word and have to say it word for word. It's enough to know the gist of it. I have a story that I tell a lot that's it's about a friend of mine who went on this date and she slept over this guy's house and she realized that she didn't know the guy well enough and he had a seizure in the middle of the night. She's going through all this unbelievable stuff in the morning just trying to figure out where the hell she was and being embarrassed by the fact that the guy was actually still married and his wife came home. Okay, this story is just unbelievable in terms of the drama, but I don't know it word for word. I just know enough of the gist of it that I can sound like I'm just recounting this for the first time for this group. And I still know it well enough that I can come up with the good points, the salient points, the most important details. That's what you need to do with material. So let's get back to what I was talking about, the awareness trap. When you know too much about this material, that there are techniques to handle certain situations, you start to second guess everything you did by thinking, oh, I should have had something to fix that. No, 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 no. The most important experience you ever get out of an approach is the fact that you approached. That's all. You always walk away from an approach with a positive feeling. If you ever walk away kicking yourself in the ass or smacking yourself in the forehead for not having done something, you're not getting the point. The most important thing you can do in an approach is to approach, period. Once you've done that, you've succeeded already. Anything after that is merely skill rehearsal. Yes, you can go learn a new skill to fix that the next time, but don't get caught up in the mistakes. If you get into mistake-based thinking, you're not going to be able to approach because you'll always go into the approach thinking, there's always something I'm going to be doing wrong. Now, who wants to do that? It's like getting up on stage in front of a 10 million person crowd and playing guitar and knowing that every time I get in front of them, I'm going to make a mistake. No, no, no. That's not the way to play, my friends. It's not the way to play at all. You cannot play an instrument trying to avoid the mistakes. It doesn't work that way. So go in with a loose framework. Go in with a structure that I'm going to give you, the edge structure that I'm going to give you in this program, but don't get too caught up in planning and scheming for how you're going to execute every last thing, okay? It will go fine. Have faith. Now, for today's practice, I want to keep this a very simple and very easy module for you. Today's practice is very simple, and you're going to get this actual exercise in the program as well. It's called the trigger practice, okay? I want you to take a piece of paper out or your journal, which you should have by now, I would imagine. Especially if you're a student of mine for any period of time, you know that I want you to chronicle everything in a journal. What I want you to do is to get that journal out. I want you to open to a new page. I want you to write down all the emotional triggers and the things that push your buttons when you're approaching women. Okay? What you want to do here, and this is rather specific, is to figure out all those places in a conversation where you have an emotional reaction to her. Okay? So let's say you walked up and said hello. The first point of emotional reaction to her is if maybe she doesn't say hi right back to you, or she doesn't seem to notice you right away. You ever feel that? You feel that twinge in your gut like, ooh, maybe she's ignoring me here, right? You start to feel rejected right there. Boom. There's an emotional trigger. Write it down. Write down why you feel that feeling right then. That one's the most common, I think, for most guys, is when you go up and you finally do work up the courage to approach her, you've already got some expectations set in your head. And if you're let down in those expectations in any way, you already have a negative feeling if anything happens. First rule of approach, just like the first rule of Fight Club, You never lose going into an approach, okay? There is never a loss. Your win is immediate the second you walk up and just say something to a woman. That's the positive result. Everything else after that is gravy, and it'll actually get you closer to your imagined success, the success you want, which is eventually get phone numbers, to get dates, to get whatever you want with a woman. But that stuff is coming only if you can create success immediately on every single approach. So first rule of approach is there are no unsuccessful approaches, ever. Capiche? So I want you to write down all these emotional triggers. Here's another example of an emotional trigger. You are in the middle of a conversation with a woman, and she brings up, ba-ba-boom, a boyfriend. What do? Do you feel that twinge in your gut of, oh man, she's blowing me out? Or, oh man, I didn't realize she had a boyfriend. That makes this whole thing not worth it. We all know that if you have those contingencies in your conversation, you're setting yourself up because you can't know this information going in. Every single approach is a whole brand new Pandora's box of possibility. As my friend Diego says in this program, and you're going to hear him on one of the CDs, every approach is either getting a phone number or getting a connection there, or you have a great story. That's all. So write down everything that pushes your buttons, that triggers an emotion in you or makes you feel in some way awkward or make you lose your self-confidence in the approach. Because all of those things have to be cleared up in advance. We got to win this inner game. In the words of Sun Tzu, every battle is won before it is fought. All right, this is the end of day one, and I want you to go through. I want you to make sure you do that exercise. Stay tuned. We're going to be coming very soon with part 2 for you. You're going to go into more in-depth understanding and how we kill this approach anxiety, because that's what we're talking about. The whole inner game of approaching is just to get rid of this, oh my God, I'm talking to a new person. Yeah, you're going to have that initially, and that's okay. It's how fast you can get past it, and I'm going to get you past it very fast, no matter what. Feel free to email me if you like. You can get the email from the site. Go to datingdynamics.com, go to the bottom of the page, and you'll see the email Carlos link there if you have any questions. But for now, stay tuned. Follow all the exercises, watch the video again if you have to, and stay dialed in to this Fast Start Academy. This is very important stuff. This is going to get you fast results as soon as possible. And here's a bonus exercise for you guys that are actually a little bit more advanced and may already be approaching women. I want you to get out and do what I call the hired gun practice. Get out and start talking to women in places where they must talk to you. Go to stores. Go to places where the women there have to be helpful and have to talk to you. Okay? They've already got an assumed frame of helpfulness, of openness, of connecting, so you can talk to them the easiest. Go to a mall, go to a department store, go anywhere you like where women are working, and you can just ask them questions about the things they're selling there. And then see if you can start to think about how you would bridge that into more real conversation. Watch your mailbox for the next Approach Academy, day 2, where we're going to cover a lot more of inner game, and we're going to start working you towards actual approaching. We're going to get your mindset fixed, and we're going to get your confidence up to the level where you'll be out there talking to women. Stay tuned. It's going to get really good. This is Carlos Zuma. I'll be talking to you again soon. This is CX out.